Ever since I was a kid, I have always loved King of the Hill, and as I got older and my tastes evolved, I always wondered, why are there tons of videos analyzing how powerful characters like Saitama, Goku, and Luffy are, but none on characters from King of the Hill, or its classic Japanese name, Kingu Buzahiru? So I decided it was time someone did something about that. So I buckled down and started rewatching, researching, writing, recording, and editing a video on one of the strongest characters in shonen and fiction in general. The man, the myth, the legend, Dale Gribble. On the surface, Dale Gribble is an extremely weak man. He's 45 years old, stands at 5'10", weighs an estimated 160 pounds based on his height and physique, and wears a size 9 shoe.
Men's 9, 42 European.
He's also overly confident and fairly stupid, with a weapon and tactical gear arsenal that puts the Zimbabwean military to shame. But although he may seem like the weakest character in King of the Hill, or Kingu Buzahiru, Dale is not only the most powerful character in the show, but the most powerful in a majority of fiction. He's just simply hiding his true strength. Now that may sound crazy. You might be saying, how? Dale's character is purposefully weak and squirrely. He even needs a spotter to bench 35 pounds.
Dale wakes me up to spot him while he lifts weights. Peggy, the man benches 35 pounds.
But throughout the entire series, we see Dale perform amazing feats of power that show he has inhuman durability, spiritual and physical powers, insane regeneration, high speed, and that he even knows 3 different fighting styles. But I'll stop telling you and start showing you. With no further ado, after multiple weeks of work and research, this is the Dale Gribble Power Scale. And to help you understand, this number here represents the percent of his full power that Dale is at as we traverse the 13 seasons. Now that I've explained that, let's get into the video. Right off the first episode with his comments and actions, we learn Dale has a lot of confidence and thinks very highly of himself. And throughout the first season, Dale makes threats, and we learn he's always wanted to be a killer and has been a drinker since childhood. He also mentions that he has taste tested every household insecticide and even took a blast of bug poison to the face without even flinching.
I have personally taste tested each and every household insecticide. I have read a book.
These 2 things show that Dale has a powerful durability against poison. But what weaknesses did Dale show in Season 1? Well, we learned that he does really badly under stress, and a bee sting was fairly damaging as it had him crawling on his hands and knees. But in Season 1 so soon, we already get 2 amazing feats of power from Dale. The first of which being in Episode 4 when he nearly attains inner peace while meditating.
I was a nose hair away from attaining inner peace.
Now that may sound like some hippie mumbo jumbo, but the thing about it is that monks spend years in a totally silent monastery and detach themselves from all worldly possessions. And even then they spend years or even decades meditating to try and achieve this inner peace. Dale nearly did it while still connected to all his worldly possessions, while also in a not-so-silent suburban neighborhood. But I mentioned 2 great feats. The second one was in episode 11 when Dale saved Bobby from what looks to be thousands of fire ants. Now yes, obviously ants aren't very strong, but according to a PhD level entomologist at Sao Paulo University, 100 to 1,000 fire ant stings could kill you. And at the very least, Dale is taking ant stings in the high hundreds, if not low thousands, and all at once. But despite that, Dale blacked out for only a few seconds and then got back up seeming perfectly fine, maybe a little drowsy, meaning that Dale's body can regenerate itself to a working order extremely quick, even after intaking lethal doses of venom. This is even more impressive when you factor in Dale's relatively light weight, meaning the venom should do even more damage than it would to the average man. So based on his spiritual abilities, regenerative power, and his moderate durability, Dale at the end of Season 1 is barely at 6% of his full power, and we've got a long way to go.
You don't know me. I am unknowable.
In Season 2, we learn of Dale's weapon arsenal. He usually has pepper spray on his person based off episode 19, along with his hundreds of guns, which he usually keeps at home. Usually. But besides his weapons, Dale is what I would consider a stealth master, since he was able to trail behind Hank's car for multiple miles completely undetected.
Dale? What are you doing here?
I followed you, every twist and every turn. By the way, I'm gonna need to follow you home.
But Dale's healing and self-sustaining abilities are also developed further in Season 2, as we learn he can replace food entirely with cigarettes based on the fact that his wife Nancy left him a carton of smokes for dinner.
Well, what about my supper?
I left a carton of cigarettes on the table.
I think I'll keep her.
But in this season we get what I believe is one of Dale's strength fakeouts, when he can't hold what looks to be a 5-gallon bucket of sand for more than a few seconds. But based off his feats shown this season, I'm fairly confident this was just a tactic to hide his true power level from the guys. Dale has 2 big feats of power for the season as well, both in the same episode. The first is when Dale says during a job interview that he's killed every single bug in Arlen.
I have killed all the bugs in Arlen. It is time for me to take on new challenges.
Now that may seem far-fetched, you know, he's obviously just lying to seem like a good candidate for the job. But I don't think he's lying at all. I believe he actually did kill every bug, in only Arlen though, so the insect population quickly regenerated from neighboring areas' bugs and moving in. But nonetheless, for Dale to kill likely tens of millions of bugs all at once is a fantastic feat of power, especially when he did so without leveling all of Arlen. This shows Dale has a massive amount of precision with his poisons or an inhuman level of speed. But based off later seasons, it's more likely it was thanks to his high skill and precision with poison. Now the second amazing feat of power for Season 2 was not only in the same episode, but in the same scene. Dale says he managed an Arizona-based propane shop for multiple years. Now obviously we would think that's a lie. Hank says he's known Dale since they were kids, so how would Dale be moving to and fro between 2 states every day for years? I'll tell you how. Dale has mastered the art of spiritual cloning through his meditation and can now control multiple forms. This ability allows him to live his more carefree exterminator/father life in Texas, while simultaneously managing a propane shop in Arizona. And while we never learn quite the limit of his spiritual cloning, if pushed far enough, Dale could possibly clone and then control an entire army of super fighters. So for this season, Dale's healing, attack, and spiritual abilities that were greatly furthered, I'd put end of Season 2 Dale at 17% of his full power, or an 11% gain from Season 1.
I'm coming down. If you're going to shoot me, I want Bobby Hill to take the shot, because Bobby will put me down clean.
Okay.
In this season, we learn a lot about what Dale is able to handle and how he is mentally. The things we learn that Dale is able to handle physically are very impressive. For one, he was able to inhale and be in a massive cloud of tear gas for a long period of time. He also picked up and held the canister without flinching or getting burnt. Because if you didn't know, tear gas canisters get extremely hot, because for the gas to come out it needs to be heated to 590 degrees Fahrenheit or 310 Celsius. So right here we learn that Dale is unfazed by gas warfare and has an extremely high durability against heat, as a normal man would have had horrible burns from grabbing that canister. Dale also purposefully exposes himself to what are most definitely lethal amounts of chromium picolonate. The reason for this is he says it will make him live forever. So every day in every orifice of his body, ears, nose, mouth, etc., he inserts a lot of chromium, which really should have given him chromium poisoning after one day of doing it, yet he's perfectly fine, showing that he's got massive durability against poisonings of multiple types.
I am not going to die. Chromium picolonate. Every orifice, every day.
Along with what he can endure, we see that Dale moves far faster than the average human being. While the average person jumps at a speed of 4.92 feet per second, Dale goes far beyond that based on this scene here. Using Boomhauer's 6-foot body as a reference, Dale jumps 2.25 feet high in 0.21 seconds, since this only took him a few frames. And when scaled up to 1 second, Dale would be jumping at a rate of 10.7 feet per second, or 2.17 times faster than the average person. We can also assume that jump will be far higher than the average person's, because that 2.25 foot jump Dale made wasn't even a full strength attempt, yet was still nearly a full foot above the average person's vertical, which is in the ballpark of 1.5 feet. This one scene here shows that throughout the series, Dale is holding back a lot when running, jumping, and doing other cardio-based tasks. We also get to see how Dale's mental state is. We see that his confidence is super high, with him believing Peggy is in love with him, and we see that he sees himself not as a 5'10", balding, lanky guy, but a 6'4", super buff man with a luscious mane. Another show of his mental state is his display of massive bloodlust and ruthlessness when he mentions he killed a Tennessee walking horse simply for looking at him funny.
You think that's all I do? I killed 8 gophers last year, and a purebred Tennessee walking horse that was looking at me funny.
For reference, these walking horses are around 1,000 pounds and over 5 feet tall on average, and he slaughtered one purely for how it looked at him. Yeah. In Season 3, we also see that Dale's arsenal includes body enhancers, like ear boosters and night vision goggles, which could artificially increase his power level 1% or 2%. We also see that Dale has the flexibility of a professional contortionist, and he gets knocked down by a shock from an outlet, and like I said, Dale does really bad under pressure. So when getting charged by a deer, he drops his gun and needs to get saved by Joseph. So based off the durability Dale showed from the tear gas container, the chromium he intakes daily, and his huge ego and bloodlust, I'd put end of Season 3 Dale at about 22% of his full power, or a 5% gain from the last season.
Thought you could just waltz in here and kill me, did you? Well, so did he.
In Season 4, Dale unlocks a new form after losing a short battle to a raccoon. That form is Rabid Mushroom Mode. After believing he contracted rabies and eating a ton of magic mushrooms, Dale's bloodlust is increased tenfold. He even stops fearing Hank, even when he's got a gun in his hand. Along with his bloodlust-based lack of fear, Dale stops feeling pain in this form. He drops from a very tall tree thinking he can fly, and doesn't even wince after hitting the floor.
This isn't over. So long, suckers! Hank, I can see your house from up here.
The weaknesses of this form are really only the vivid hallucinations. Like at one point he sees bugs squirming out of Hank's mouth that just aren't there. But besides his new form, we learned Dale's smoking can keep him alive in very harsh situations. For example, he was locked outside in the freezing rain for a long period of time, but his want to smoke kept him going, and even an old ashtray is enough to maintain a low power level. So cigarettes can be used to ignore pain and greatly increase his power level even after being badly hurt. What is the extent of this ability? We never quite find out, but it's likely very high if Dale were to get his hands on higher quality tobacco. Dale also reveals he has constant imaging and recording of everyone, so he's likely to know the weaknesses and ways to beat most opponents he'll encounter. And he shows off his influence ability by getting a crowd riled up against Strickland Propane.
Dale, go home.
Bait and switch! Bait and switch! Bait and switch!
No, there was no switch. No switch. It's bait and bait. Bait and bait. We have many other excellent grills.
And as a side note, he shows off the influence ability multiple times throughout the series, but we never see its max potential. If I had to guess, I'd say at max power, he could probably influence entire countries worth of people with it. So based on Dale's new unlocked form, strengthened influence ability, constant monitoring of everyone, and the fact he can power through most things with cigarettes, I'd say at the end of Season 4, Dale is at 27% of his full power, or a 5% gain from the last season.
They're not recognizing me as their maternal influence. The project has gone horribly awry. Quick, Joseph, get me some real poison.
But Dad, you're not supposed to inhale any more poison.
Damn it, why are there so many ways to kill people, but only one way to kill bugs? Hold that thought.
Dale usually has multiple guns on his person, but is just not a good shot. Also, his entire body is extremely carcinogenic from all his smoking, which according to a major tobacco CEO should have killed him by now.
You've got to smoke 90,000 cigarettes just to get the satin team jacket. Now let's be honest, he should be dead by now.
So if he were fighting, say, a lion and somehow lost, the lion would still die due to cancer after eating Dale's corpse. We also see another example of Dale's ruthlessness when he tries to mow a live chicken just to raise his mowing power. The final feats I have for Dale are his tracking abilities that let him find targets efficiently, and his hiding abilities. He's such a good hider, he can hide things even from himself.
Last Christmas I hid Joseph's gift so well I still haven't found it. Cutest little puppy. Or should I say dog?
So based off Dale's carcinogenic body, tracking and hiding abilities, at the end of Season 5 I would say that Dale is at about 29% of his full power, or a 2% gain from the previous season.
I'm unfit to carry a weapon.
Now here in Season 6 we get one of the greatest feats in the entire series that genuinely amazed me when I saw it happen. But before we get into those, we'll go through the lesser feats. Dale's durability is shown to be great once again when he gets hit by Hank's truck and jumps out of a moving bus only to receive 0 damage or injury. Then when he goes to raid Mad Dog's compound, his flexibility is shown to be still extremely high. And the way he showed it by limboing under that very low tripwire simultaneously demonstrated his ability to find hidden traps. Now I'm going to get into the insane feats of power that belong in a shonen anime.
He's soused to the gills.
It's only Bill. I scalded off my fingerprints for nothing.
For one, Dale scalded off all his fingerprints, and less than 5 minutes after doing so, he's climbing around, pressing buttons, and not wincing at all, meaning that Dale's body either regenerated insanely fast, or he has a massive Eren Yeager-like pain tolerance. And based off the fact he isn't leaving any bloody finger marks, I'd say that's just Dale having an insane regeneration speed. And literally in the exact same scene, Dale has his greatest strength feat yet. With one hand he overhead presses easily 200 pounds of cast iron. This innocuous scene may seem like just that. Innocuous. But that is a street-located manhole cover, and based on its design and location, I'd say it's a cast iron E600, which is usually over 200 pounds. So how? How exactly did Dale fail to hold a 5-gallon bucket of sand, but one hand overhead press 200 pounds of cast iron? Well, along with him hiding his already high power level, he went through an insane power boost from smoking the Olympic flame. Now, what the heck does that mean? Well, in episode 7 of season 6, Dale smokes a cigarette lit by the fire from the Olympic torch. And as we all know, the Olympic torch absorbs energy from everyone who carries it. So Dale smoking this flame, he absorbed a portion of the power and skill from everyone that's carried it so far. And him doing so allowed him to have these amazing feats, like carrying over 200 pounds with one hand, and knowing 3 different styles of fighting, which he obviously picked up from the people he smoked down. Before we move on, I want to mention one other possible source of Dale's massive power boost. Dale's wife Nancy mentioned she made him get rid of something and donate it to a teaching hospital.
Y'all want to see what Dale's been keeping in the basement for the last 20 years? No, not that. I made him donate that to the teaching hospital.
This could be some weird taxidermied or sewn together bunch of squirrels or something like that. That would be very Dale. But what it also could be is an alien's corpse. That's right, that thing Nancy made Dale donate was the corpse of a powerful space alien. A space alien that Dale was using to siphon power off of so he could permanently increase his regenerative ability, which would explain why he was able to use his fingers so soon after scalding off the prints. So based on his massive regenerative speed gain, massive strength boost, increased knowledge in fighting styles which include a combination of Krav Maga, Martial Tai, and Bagua, also known as Monkey Style, I'd put end of Season 6 Dale at about 48% of his full power, or a 19% gain from the previous season.
Yeah. Morning, officer.
Do you have a license to sell guns, sir?
What I sell is a lifestyle. A lifestyle free from fear of...
We sell books here. The guns are simply a promotional giveaway.
Yeah.
In Season 7, Dale doesn't gain much, and we don't learn much. We see how high his pain tolerance is when he gets his finger sliced off, and he doesn't even realize for a few moments.
Hey, you're not cutting that board very straight. Aren't you supposed to be inside the lines? You're outside the lines, see?
Oh no, oh my God!
Huh?
And his durability is further developed when he reveals he can consume venomous and non-venomous bugs without adverse effects. But besides that, we get some minor strength feats, like he can pull a pin out of a grenade with his teeth, which in all reality is impossible, because your teeth would either chip or get pulled out from trying to do so, which means he has insane jaw strength and a high oral durability. Also, fun fact, Dale can speak Filipino.
Ako mangyangan ang kalapati Dios. Sha.
The final thing I'm going to mention is Dale's spiritual power being trained and him unlocking a new form. He goes through a Native American style spiritual vision and unlocks his albino buffalo form. All it does is make him more adept to the land, and he starts to use native style tools, clothes, and has a primal war cry.
Yep.
So really, besides the war cry, this form makes him weaker if anything. So based off his insane jaw strength and huge pain tolerance, at the end of Season 7, Dale is at about 50% of his full power, or a 2% gain from the previous season.
Back off. Come any closer and this baby's good for nothing but an Englishman's breakfast.
Now, Dale, hold on. Let's just talk about this.
No! Now, I'm going to need an unmarked jet and 2 parachutes, 1 kidney-sized. Also,
There's no time for this.
Here in Season 8, Dale shows some absolutely massive feats and unlocks a new form on top of it all. The first thing I'll explain is a feat from Episode 7. Dale and the guys were trapped in the back of a semi-truck's trailer, so to survive the heat and dehydration, he shoots a few holes through the back door. And based off the looks of the exterior and interior, the door is totally metal. And after shooting a few holes, wearing only his socks, Dale kicked through it as if it were no more than wet tissues. And well, I did some research, and on average, the outer layer for the doors of shipping semi-trucks, which in this case makes up the entire door instead of just the outside for some reason, is usually galvanized steel. So this one scene shows that Dale was able to kick through a webbing of 2-inch thick galvanized steel in only his socks. So in all reality, if he kicked someone in the chest, he'd probably go clear through. And a few episodes later, Dale unlocks one of his most powerful forms, Mighty Knight Dale. Dale unlocked this form after donning a recently purchased suit of armor. In Mighty Knight mode, Dale can handle any physical attack. He brushes off strikes from 9-irons, metal baseball bats, trash can lids like they were nothing. The only downside to this form is his speed gets reduced greatly, and his balance is so bad he can get knocked over pretty easily. But despite those huge flaws, it took Bill powering up into his garbage armor form to take him down, which he did pretty easily post power up. And now for the most notable thing we learn in the season, and the show in general, here in episode 14. Dale is going to get his kidney removed, and so in response, he redirects all his waste into the other kidney.
I'll give John Force my kidney. The left one, I think. Let me just redirect my waste to the right one. The process has begun.
Now this may seem like an uninteresting ability, but this right here shows that Dale is quite possibly invincible. For one, if he's able to redirect waste, it's also safe to assume he could redirect other things, like blood and airflow. But how does that make him invincible, you might say? He can't redirect a bullet blowing through his chest, but that's where you're wrong. In a way. If Dale can order his blood, waste, and air around, it's not crazy to say that Dale could redirect his life force, a la the armored Titan from Attack on Titan. So if someone were to hypothetically shoot Dale through the chest, he could redirect his life force to a safer part of his body, while his alien-powered extreme regeneration fixes the damaged area, making him essentially invincible, because unless someone were totally to annihilate his whole body, he'd be able to regenerate and just move his life force around. These massive abilities to kick through steel nearly barefoot, his mighty knight form, and his essential invincibility against poison and what should be fatal injuries, emphasis on should be, I'd say at the end of Season 8, Dale is at a mere 78% of his full power, or a 28% gain from Season 7.
I just had the worst dream.
Oh, how about I read you a story, just like I used to before you got a mustache and became so frightening. Here we go.
Season 9, not much happens. We learn Dale can do a bit of cardio if he's smoking while doing so you know, smoking equals power up, but we already knew that. He also unlocks his Patriot form, but the only difference is that he's in flag print clothes and acts more patriotic.
So, now you love the government?
Give me liberty or give me death, but only the kind of liberty you find in a controlled, well-regulated society.
We are talking about the U.S. government, right? Not another one you made up with your buddies from the gun club?
So I'd say he's still at 78% of his full power, so no change from the last season.
God dang old die, man. It just don't die.
No one panic. In times of extreme duress, the body human is often imbued with super strength. I'll dive deep into the water and shoot up to the surface, propelling myself onto the boat. Gentlemen, I'll see you shipside. Shazam! Huh, I must have jumped clean over the boat!
We're doomed.
Season 10 is another empty season that I watched for basically no reason. Hey, that rhymed. We see Dale struggle to lift some newspapers, which could mean he got weak again, but in all reality he was likely just hiding his power level from Bobby. But just in case, and as a penalty for 2 empty seasons, we'll bump him down to 75% of his full power, or a 3% loss by the end of Season 10.
I've done it! I've traveled to 2048. Al Gore was right. I wonder what ocean this used to be.
Finally, in Season 11, we start to see some more amazing feats of power. After 2 seasons of nothing, a couple episodes in, we see Dale display some insane strength. He picks up and moves an over 200-pound manhole cover during the snake capture arc. A bit later, we see some other men go into the sewer, and they need to use a specialized tool to move that exact cover, which I think was a subtle nod to the existence of Dale's boundless strength. Later in the season, Dale reveals he can hold his pee for 6 days and 52 minutes, and he gets a finger nearly blown off, which recovers within a day as a testament to his regenerative ability.
My smokes! Thanks for the ride, Hank. Okay, I don't know if you knew this, but I can't use any toilet but my own. I can only hold my bodily fluids for 6 days and 52 minutes.
Yes, Dale, I'm well aware.
So I have to go potty.
The final thing we learn in Season 11 was in Episode 11. Dale lets Bill rub his head for good luck, which means that Dale, as the owner of his head, on average, is always lucky, or at the very least when he rubs it, which could be whenever he wants since it's his head. So for the end of this season, thanks to this showing of Dale's insane regeneration and strength, end of Season 11 Dale is at 80% of his full power, or a measly 5% gain from the last season.
Get out of my way!
Ah! Oh my God! I'm so embarrassed!
Hey, you can't do that! Do you know how tired we are of pervs like you always touching us?
Yeah, keep your sick hands off of him. He's one of us.
In Season 12, Dale and the gang, showing how powerful all of the Rainy Street team truly is, withstand an explosion powerful enough to completely snap the boards around it. Yet the guys just stand there, with Dale not even flinching.
It's a really good shed, Hank.
Yeah, man, it's like dang old tribute, man. Yep.
I guess it was a sissy shack after all.
A little after that, Dale goes through an off-screen training arc with Min to shoot better, and he does increase his accuracy quite a bit. And because of this greatly increased accuracy and show of durability, Dale at the end of Season 12 is at about 87% of his full power, or a nice 7% gain from Season 11.
Excuse me.
In Season 13, we get the most intense displays of Dale's massive durability, and he goes through a training arc to increase it further. The pinnacle of Dale's durability feats was when he was in the center of an absolutely massive explosion that created an over 20-foot tall fire blast. It even affected Bill, who was over a solid 50 feet away. But after being in the center of it, the only thing damaged was Dale's clothes, hat, and glasses. His skin was unscathed, and more importantly, all his hair was still intact. Now why is that important? Well, because usually a slight flash of fire will singe people's eyebrows completely off. But Dale withstood a gargantuan fireball with no damage or loss of hair in any way, shape, or form, essentially proving that Dale does have a high durability, and this isn't just some crackpot theory. And a few episodes later, when Nancy leaves town for a while, Dale buys multiple ACs and a walrus to train his ability to handle nuclear ice age temperatures.
Maybe you like to bore Peggy with all your little projects, but I'm not gonna bore my wife with mine.
Hey, Gribble, where should I put the walrus before he wakes up?
Joseph's bed.
And he handles it pretty well, increasing his durability a small amount. And in the same episode, we see the greatest revelation for Dale in the entire series, when he purchased some bright green glowing artifact from some Russians.
Мне сперва нужно посмотреть на это.
This innocuous scene here implies one of two things. Dale had either harnessed the unstoppable force that is nuclear power, which would make sense what with his anti-government, pro-weapon stance, or he had purchased from those Russians the legendary Time Stone. That's right, in the final season of King of the Hill, Dale Gribble harnesses the power of one of the Infinity Stones, which if you didn't know, the Time Stone allows the user to turn things back or forward in time. But what the acquiring of this stone means is that Dale can see into the future, so he'll be able to counter against and see any attack an opponent would throw at him. He could also use it as a weapon and age someone in a fight to where they're too old to move, or it could be used to heal himself from any damage by just turning his body back a couple minutes. The only thing limiting Dale right now is the fact he probably doesn't know how to work the Time Stone, so it'll take him a while to understand how to use it at 100% potential or even 50%. So thanks to his massive durability boost and possible infinite attack and healing power increase due to Dale receiving the Time Stone, I believe at the end of the series, Dale actually still isn't at 100% of his total power. In fact, the whole video I've simply been comparing the previous season Dales to season 13 Dale. His true max power could comparatively be equal to 10,000,000% when compared to him in the final season. If I had to guess, I'd say at the end of the show, Dale is at most somewhere from 1 to 5% of his total power. My reason for estimating such a low percent is, for one, Dale is 45 years old, and he has been smoking for most of those years. So imagine him at 18 to 25 in his physical prime, and more importantly, he's got another 15 to 20 years in his lifespan. Or infinite, assuming he can just turn back piece by piece of his body to when he was younger. Well, either way, in that infinity or not infinity amount of time, he most definitely will gain more rare and even more powerful artifacts that push him beyond the limits once thought to be in place. So to finalize, I'd say at the end of the series, Dale Gribble is at about 4% of his total power. Now, I could include non-canon stuff like the ad for movie theater concessions where he's shown to be invisible, but of course, it's non-canon, and Dale's already a stealth master, so that would just be a hat on a hat.
Well, we saved the world from aliens, but Bobby is still 50 feet tall and Dale is still invisible.
It's true.
I have no choice. Shabu, for my last wish, I want everything back to normal.
It is done.
Wait a minute. This isn't back to normal. This is light beer. Darn you, Shabu!
But now that we've gone season by season, let's do a recap of Dale Gribble's abilities and powers. So at the end of the series, Dale is able to kick through steel, one-hand lift and drag over 200 pounds, move at least double the speed of the average person, survive nuclear winter level temperature and massive explosions totally unscathed, has insane regeneration speed, is an alright shot with a gun, can direct his life force, bodily fluids, airflow, etc., making him basically invincible, and he can replace food with cigarettes or just use smoking in general as a power booster and as a way to increase his energy to keep fighting through just about anything. And the cherry on top of it all is he controls all of time thanks to the Time Stone. And this is all at about only 4% of his max power. So in terms of durability, since he so easily survived the explosion and is able to regenerate at a super fast rate, not counting the Time Stone, Dale could likely take, and I'm lowballing him here, the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, and that's his limit. In terms of killing power, he's very likely on a near large state level. The fact he was able to kill every bug in Arlen, I wouldn't doubt using his poisons, high speed, and spiritual cloning ability, he could probably kill the entire population of Texas, which is near 30 million people that are fairly spread apart from each other. And the final stat I'll bring up is Dale's destructive power, and if I'm being honest, it just isn't that high. He just doesn't have any feats of destruction that are notable. So I'd say at most he could totally level like a block of Dent City purely because of his bomb making and super high strength. But of course all these factors are multiplied 100-fold if we were to factor in the Time Stone's power once he masters them in a few years.
Well, folks, earlier I made some comments that were deemed insensitive by one of my key sponsors, Dale's Deadbug, who pulled all his ads, coward. And I can't drum up any news sales since I'm stuck behind this microphone 24 hours a day. So, I have been forced to sell the station to Mexican interests. Viva la revolucion!
So yeah, this 5'10", 160-pound balding guy looks pretty powerful compared to a lot of your favorite anime characters. So now let's do just that. We'll compare some popular anime characters and explain why and how Dale's able to beat them in a one-on-one. The first of these one-on-one matchups is Light Yagami, the owner of the Death Note. And yes, he could insta-kill Dale, if he knew his name. But Dale is a master of secrecy, and unless you're directly his friend and or family, his name is
Rusty Shackleford. Shackleford.
So when Light writes that fake name, boom. Nothing happens and Dale moves in to mash his skull like a watermelon. Kirito from Sword Art Online. Yeah, in the cyber realm he's an unkillable fighting master, but in the real world he's some skinny redditor. He gets absolutely slaughtered by Dale's speed and strength. Mr. Satan. Yeah, he's 6'2" and 200 pounds of muscle and even packs some serious heat.
I'm a master of martial arts and I'm also packing some serious heat. And as soon as Majin Buu pops his head out of that hole, he's gonna be eating lead salad!
But Dale's durability, speed, and steel-destroying strength would put a hole clear through him with no difficulty. The only trouble might be if Mr. Satan managed to get a shot off. Even if that did happen, Dale would just move his life force and regenerate his body both naturally and with the Time Stone. Of course, that's in the teeny tiny chance the bullet even penetrates Dale's armor-like skin. Deku. He cries like a bitch half the time. Dale, no mercy, shatters his skull. End of discussion. Vegeta, one of the strongest characters in anime. Too bad he's 5'5". Dale's 5'10" height and longer reach easily puts the Prince of the Saiyans down with absolutely zero difficulty. But that's enough versus battles for Dale Gribble, and they're pointless really when no matter what, Dale's gonna come out on top. He's just too daunting of a force for even the strongest of fiction, and if I'm being honest, it's very likely at 100% power, Dale is the strongest being in all of fiction. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you now have a better understanding of the energy and power that Dale holds within his skinny body for the next time you watch the show. Because although he looks weak, he could destroy anything, or anyone in his path. But anyways, my name is Marco of MIC Studios, my last name isn't important, and roll credits. Hey, I'm Marco of MIC Studios, and I just finished editing this 40-minute monster of a video. It really kicked my ass, and I had a lot of fun making it, but I'm probably gonna take a break. This is my longest video by far, and the script alone was more than 3,000 words longer than my previous longest. I'm gonna get a drink here. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did watch all the way to the end, like and subscribe. At 500 subscribers, I'm going to do a little live stream, and, well, the credits should be just about ending. I'm going to take a little break for a week or two, and, well, see you later.